We are with Dan Patton from BM Select Mortgages once again. And my question for him today is almost a personal one, for my own curiosity, which is what has, you've been in the mortgage business for like 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time, eh?
Well, made me go back there.
Primarily working with investors.
Yep.
Over those 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
What have the most successful real estate investors done to grow their portfolios? And, that doesn't necessarily mean the biggest portfolio. That could mean, different things to different people, but just your own definition of successful real estate investors. What have you seen them do? Is it...
Good question. What do investors do? So I think it's multiple layered answer here. So if you'll allow me, I'll elaborate. Which
Please do.
I'm probably going to do anyways. Let's be honest. I seem to talk a lot, but most investors, listen, the first thing you have to do, everything revolves around building a good team. You have to have support around you, in my mind. If you want to become a real estate investor, you're going to come across a lot of people that tell you can't do it, that rates are too high, housing market's bubbled. You're going to hear a lot of people say no. And it's important to hear that. It's important. It's important to get different perspective from different people. But you have to build a strong team of people who have experience in this business. And that starts with a good real estate office or good real estate agent, a good coach, somebody who's done this for a while, invested in real estate, that knows the market, that's been through the ups and downs. We're entering an interesting time right now where interest rates are up and, the housing market's down, and we haven't seen this in a long time. People who have been in the industry maybe have seen it, so they know they have perspective. And perspective to me is super important when you're investing. You want someone that has an overall perspective of where we've been and maybe where we're going. So to me, it 100% starts with building a good team, and that number one is having a good real estate agent or having a good coach. That's number one. Then of course, you need a good mortgage broker. The banks, believe it or not, people aren't, a lot of people think the banks are there to just give us money when we need it. Unfortunately, the banks aren't there for that reason. They have rules when it comes to borrowing money. If borrowing money from a bank was easy, there'd be no need for me. But unfortunately, it's not. So you have to get a good mortgage person because all the banks are different with their rules. Same thing with the lawyer. Listen, you're going to need legal advice. You're going to need a good accountant because you're going to need advice on corporations and things like that. So you need a good team of support, right? Listen, I do mortgages full time. I don't have the time to know what's going on the street. I got a perception because I see it every day, but I rely on my coach, my realtor for that. So use people's strengths to your benefit. I think that's a secret. And I think, from a completely separate thing, I think it's important to be able to have perspective because real estate investing isn't about today. It's not about tomorrow, and it's not about yesterday. It's about the big picture of where have we been, where are we headed? And it's important, to surround yourself with people that have that perspective, that see the long-term benefits of real estate. Maybe it's not a fast game. Real estate investing was never designed to be the way it's been the last 2-3 years, right? It's not a reality, but real estate is a consistent way to build wealth over time. That's proven. So perspective, rates are up now for sure, right? Housing prices down. We haven't seen a time. A lot of people aren't buying right now. I don't mean this to sound like, well, now's the time to buy, because I don't want to come off like that at all. But there's always opportunity out there, whether the market's busy, whether the market's slow, it's opportunity. And what we're looking for in real estate is growth. It doesn't have to be 20% returns every year. It doesn't have to be 30% returns. I'm just fine with a 5-6% return. I'm fine with that over time. So find ways, have perspective, find ways to get your money working for you. That's another thing. We talked before earlier about amortizations and paying off your mortgage quick. Well, I run into a lot of people who they've done great. They've paid off their mortgage and they're paying off their mortgage and they've got these payments. And here I come and tell them, well, no, let's get a line of credit on your property and use that to maybe invest in real estate. It's changing your mind frame from paying off debt to leveraging good debt, right? Not bad debt. I don't mean it like that, but understanding how to leverage the assets you have to turn that into other assets and hopefully build wealth. So you have to have it's a state of mind combined with a strong team of people around you that'll support you.
Yeah.
Is that a good answer?
No, that's excellent.
Okay,
excellent. And then maybe speaking to mortgages specifically, have you seen maybe people who leverage too much crash and burn? Have you seen people who went at more of a steady pace and stuck in it for the long term do better? Have you seen people burn out because they got too involved in real estate and maybe crashed and burned?
Yeah, I think, when you've been doing it, as you nicely mentioned, 20 years, I think you see it all. I mean, sure, we see people that, end up over leveraged, whether they're investors or not. I mean, first time buyers end up over leveraged. It's people that bought variable rates this year that didn't expect rates to go up, that were sort of banking on rates not changing. It does happen. It's the reality of real estate, which is why it's so much more important to have people around you. You got to understand your numbers. You have to understand if rates are changing. What do I do? What are my options? Can I afford this? Do I have another source of income? What can I do to offset some of those costs? But yeah, it's again, I just go back to support, man. It's really about having a good team of people around you.
Yeah, and you've talked to me several times now about relationships too, and loyalty, and working with the same people. How's that just benefited you personally over your life?
To me, that's the biggest thing, I think, in life. Like, my world is built on relations. The secret to happiness in my mind is relationship. It's the relationships you have with people. It's the journey. So I want to be with people that I trust. I want to work with people that I trust. So I'm obsessive about the relationships I have with people like yourself, Tom and Nick, the realtors, that work with Rockstar. Like, that's everything to me. And I think that that's the only way to do business. I think it's built on relationships. I think that has to be the foundation. If you're going to trust me with some of these big life decisions and money, we have to have before you're going to trust me, you have to get to know me a little bit. So I just think that it's all about relationships in life. It's relationships with family. It's relationships with business. It's relationships with friends. That's the people that, when all is said and done, that's the people that celebrate the wins with you and, help you through the losses. So relationships is everything to me.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool, buddy.
I think that was awesome.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Good to go.
Sweet.
See you, Dan.